Smackdown is wearing the crown of longest wrestling show on the air now. 3 hours. 3 hours.
Apparently not for long. I guess they're going back to 2 hours at some point in the next few months.
I'm afraid they're just milking us. I don't want to get my hopes up. But, we're going to keep up with our New Year's resolution of, since we're covering Raw and SmackDown, and they're both very lengthy programs, we're going to hit the high points with the major characters instead of weeding into the minutia, and we'll still get into the minutia of AEW because we only bother to watch one program. And it's only 2 hours and 7 minutes, and what about an underrun? What would they do over at the network if they just said, after an hour and 53 minutes one night, well, shit, we're done. We got nothing.
Well, that would be one of the benefits of moving SmackDown to a streaming service with cable.
No, I'm talking about AEW.
Oh.
They get an overrun. What about an underrun? I think we ought to get underruns every once in a while with them.
You know what? I think if you're a wrestling promoter and booker, sometimes you need to recognize that an underrun or just a run to the time limit may be beneficial.
I think 7 minutes less. They could put on a Mighty Mouse cartoon. It would probably get a better number.
I haven't seen those in circulation in a while.
Well, all the more reason there's a pent-up demand. But anyway, we're back to SmackDown, and it's still 3 hours. But the hosts are now Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett. And, the new look on the new shows for the new year. And they were in Portland, Oregon, in front of what looked to me to be a pretty daggum decent crowd. And they started out with the recap of the Netflix Raw debut, which, again, looked so major league, and that place was lit up like a Christmas tree. And then here, Paul Heyman is already in the ring. And I think he should have gotten a full entrance. Even if they did have to wheel him down there at a golf cart like at Franklin Delano Roosevelt and get a winch and pull him out of the thing and take the turnbuckles off the bottom rope like they did for the McGuire twins and roll him in, I think they should give the man the respect of a full entrance, don't you?
He's not that big. Will you stop?
I'm trying
wench? Did you say a wench?
A winch.
Do not call Eleanor Roosevelt that. How dare you?
No. I'm talking about the block and tackle type of.
Oh.
But he was in the ring, and he was all excited, ready to address the crowd because of the big triumph. Officially, there's only one tribal chief, and it's Roman Reigns. And, of course, the people chant OTC, and that's right, only tribal chief. And Roman has instructed Paul to tell everybody what is next in the career and the life of Roman Reigns, and he's going to do that. And to be respectful, and he's been told to do this, to say this to this man face to face. He wants to talk to the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, and he calls out Cody. And I love this because as he mentioned Cody's name, the crowd started booing, but they weren't booing Cody. As soon as his music hit, they cheered him like crazy, but they were booing the idea. They're starting to think, oh, Paul's going to turn. All right. I mean, they're with every goddamn line that's being said by these top guys. And so they're like, oh, what's going to happen now? No, we want to like Paul and blah, blah, blah. So Cody comes in, shakes Paul's hand, and then Paul does Paul. He puts Cody over like $1 million. I can't replicate the eloquence or the smarminess, but the bottom line is, after this delivery, Paul tells Cody to his face, with Roman Reigns' respect, that Roman Reigns wants his title back. Put the title back. Blaka. And Roman Reigns is entering the Royal Rumble. And the people are popping on this. And Cody, it sinks in on him. And as soon as he starts to speak, there's the Cody chants, but then he gets interrupted by Kevin Owens from the stands with the fucking microphone, and the people pop on that. Even though they're like, yes, do more of the shit that you're doing, these soliloquies of eloquence. So Owens said, this is even worse. And he's got the t-shirt on that says, Kevin is right. I knew it all along. He's from Canada. He's got that physique. He's George Crybaby Cannon's illegitimate son, Brian.
I could see that.
See, you said
Cannon is right. That's right.
Yep, I am right. Kevin is right. So Kevin Owens says it's even worse. Now, Cody, you teamed up with Roman. Then you kiss The Rock's ass. Now you shake hands with Paul Heyman, and 30 seconds later, he tells you that Roman wants his title back. What kind of fucking basically dipshit are you? And Cody has all he can stand, and he bolts through the ropes and down the aisle and up the stands, and they get in a big fight, him and Kevin. And the crowd is up, and they both fight out through the breezeway into somewhere in the arena. And Paul's still in the ring, and he's got up on the bottom rope. He's so excited. And can you imagine? They must have reinforced that steel airplane cable in the turnbuckle, but nevertheless, he steps down off the turnbuckle from looking up in the arena, and there suddenly behind him is Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. And Paul turns around and sees them and shits himself. And they've got him cornered, and they're menacing him, and he's like, no, I'm a father, and all the thing he does. And here comes Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy Uso super kicks an ass in faces. Asses in face. No, he's only got one ass. He ass in faces all the heels, and he gets the chair, and he whacks Tama. And then he whacks Jacob Fatu, and Jacob no-sells it. And turns around and gives Jimmy a big tackle, and Jesus Christ, what a bump he took. And they get heat on Jimmy, and the referees now are coming out. They can't stop it. The agents, and Ken Doane gets super kicked. And now finally Cody comes back in, wherever the fuck that he left Owens, and he dumps Tonga, and he fights with Jacob and bumps him over the top, and the heels are being held off by all the minions, and the people are fucking up. And a 20-minute segment. And it was a boom, boom, boom. It was good. And these people are loving this shit. Your thoughts on the matter?
It was enjoyable. You know, it reminded me of that match where we said it a couple weeks ago. What was it? I guess it was the Roman solo match. The match was all right, but it was like ECW. The right timed run-ins, the right run-ins for a big pop. You know, it smells of Paul Heyman. Not to jump in on your...
Again, that's just because of his weight that odor comes up, because it's the mildew under the flaps. But go ahead.
But, you know, I'm one of the things I'm happy with right now is the way WWE is incorporating so many people in so many different things. AEW, they've kind of done it the other way, so we've seen a lot of that lately, where it's just too many people running around, nothing makes sense, no one cares. Everyone's gunning for the Royal Rumble. Everyone knows that Roman's out there trying to do his thing. I don't know. I liked it. I mean, I like this stuff better than the matches on SmackDown.
Well, yeah, because this is the stuff you really want to see. But it's focused. They're promoting shit. They're making big events upcoming instead of trying to make the TV the greatest show in the history of, you know, like Nick Goulas. We're in store for one of the largest crowds I've ever seen in all my years. And then, as a matter of fact, let's in some way kind of take this chronologically here, but keeping with the participants involved. They had Chelsea and Mia, and they had the Lucha heels against Purely Dreary. And the first spot, the Lucha guys tried, or maybe they're the Lucha baby faces. I can't keep track. But they tried the fucking double dive, but it fucked up because one of Purely Dreary took a head scissors and rolled out on the wrong side of the ring, and the two guys start running for the ropes, and as the one guy starts running, he sees, well, wait a minute, there's nobody there, and he stops and just
get out of here.
Oh, yeah. And
I
then
never saw that.
And then he saw where he was, and then he fucking ran anyway, but by the time that he got to the ropes, he wasn't sure whether the guy was going to catch him or not, and he just fucking stopped and stepped out and just put his hands on his hips. But anyway, then we came to the 9 o'clock hour with the U.S. title match with LA Knight and Shaky Nakamura. And I love LA Knight. I can't watch this other fucking guy. But earlier, security had been trying to throw Fatu and Tama out of the building, and they weren't going, so LA Knight had come in, bum rushed him and shoved him out and locked the door. So now they have this match with LA Knight and Nakamura, and then as soon as LA Knight hits his finish, boom, and covers him, here comes Fatu and Tama Tonga. They found the other way in. You know, ever since the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, they've had to have 2 doors to these major arenas. And they found the other one. And they hit the ring disqualification. And they beat up LA Knight. And if Jacob Fatu's Samoan drop is not stiff, then it's a work of art. And the ass in the face and the moonsault. And then Cody and Jimmy come back out. And they get a big fight going with the heels. And Nick Aldis comes out. And he's trying to calm them down and kick them out. And Cody said, no. I'm here and Jimmy's here and they're here. How about we have the match tonight? And the fucking crowd roars. And now we know what the main event is. We're just going to have to wait a while to fucking see it. But again, did I miss an all-star spectacle of a match, or was it basically to, again, continue Cody and Uso and the heels and the bloodline and the blah, blah, blah?
And I guess LA Knight, technically, because it's now multiple segments or matches that what do we call them, the bloodline? What do we call Solo's group now, that they've run into his stuff?
I don't know, and we ain't seen Solo as of this point. So we got to figure, because if he's lost the position of tribal chief, what is he now? Is he going to be chief bottle washer? What's he going to come back with? Has he gone and found another island that he can run? We'll find out. And then why don't we go again in order, and then I'll come back for one thing. But the main event, after a women's 4-way, that followed a women's talking segment that was, God almighty. I'll just go to the main event. Cody and Jimmy against Tama and Jacob. And again, it's a standard match. Fatu's incredible and most of his shit gets over. But it's a standard match, and they're not trying to kill each other, and the people are enjoying the shit out of it. And bing, bang, bang. Finally, Cody makes the big comeback and hits the dive and gets the chance and does the flip-flop and fly. And they hit the superplex and the splash on Tama and a cutter on Jacob Fatu. And Uso hits a dive and knocks Jacob over the announce desk. And then here comes Kevin Owens down the aisleway. And Cody meets him and boom. And they get together and they fight off. And now Jimmy's all by himself. And he spears Tama and goes to the top and hits him with a splash. But Jacob pulls him out and beats him up. And then moonsaults him. And pins him 1, 2, 3. And the announcers are even saying Jimmy was left all alone. And then Cody and Owens fight back into the arena. And Cody tackles Owens off of an equipment case through 2 tables. And they crash there. And they're bringing the meat wagon in as we go off the air. But I think because if they were trying to give Cody a reason not to be there so that Jacob, the heels could fuck Jimmy, then I don't know why that the announcers would accentuate Jimmy was left all alone, because that puts heat on Cody, because he chose to tackle Owens, and they said he was going to do it anytime, any place, anywhere. He was going to tackle Owens. But what in the old days, people would have been going, "Where the fuck were you while your partner was getting beat?" But the way that they said that, I'm wondering if they're leaving a little hook for later that they can play something back if Jay wanted to be the WWE champion, or Jimmy rather. You see what I'm saying to you here?
I do.
So it's just, and Cody can take the residual heat, well, because he did come back out, and he did, get thrown through a table, so he was occupied at the time. But they could do something with that later on. It's just a little clue to be left. Anyway, but that was the SmackDown show. What'd you think of that big main event?
It was all right. Like you said it best. It was, I don't know if you said standard. It was a fine television main event.
A fine, clean contest.
It's been a topic of conversation, so you could say it here. Not everything needs to be a 5-star match. It was a fine main event to keep furthering things along.
And
the fans there seemed very happy with what they were getting.
Yes, and even though most of the matches that they theoretically pay to see are okay, but the fucking interviews are great. Except I will just say no more. They did a 4-girl interview that led to a 4-girl match that illustrates at least some of Uncle Dave's point that there's a lot of meaningless multiple person matches on this program. I shouldn't say meaningless, because it was all the women that want the women's title and blah, blah, blah. But that was a lot of women for a long time. But there you have that.
Yeah.
Brian, I'll tell you what, some of those women, they
I'm
might
afraid,
need to,
whatever you're thinking, why don't you go the other way? Why don't you talk about something else and someone else, or somehow, somewhere?
Some of those women, they might have boyfriends or husbands.
Yes, they may.
Yeah, see, so far so good. They might want their boyfriends or husbands to groom themselves better. Would you say that's fair to say?
Fair to say. So far so good. Yes.
They might want to help these men in their efforts to groom themselves. They may want to assist somehow, because the men are not doing it on their own. So then, Brian, you would say that it would also follow that the slicker and cleaner you are, the more likely that it is, as Valentine's Day is coming up, to have not only roses on your piano, but tulips on your organ.
I would say that a lot of women out there probably like their man to look very nice and clean and dapper on Valentine's Day.
Yes, and that can lead to other things. So
it could.
So in addition, ladies out there, now I can tell you how you can help your man along in having a beautiful, dashing profile, a shaven face, free of whiskers and growth, and it'd probably even work on the ears, and you might even be able to get part of this Harry's razor up your nose if you tried hard enough. But it'll take a lot of that unwanted hair off and give you the nice slick look, and you get a little collar on your shirt, and you fucking look nice on the neck there and everything. The next thing you know, you're going around the world in 80 days with a hooker in a cheap hotel somewhere. You never know what might happen. But folks, right now, Harry's has a trial kit, so you can find out what's going to happen for only $3. That does not include the companionship, but what it does include is the beautiful and deluxe razor handle that is ergonomically designed. It's weighted. It fits good in your hand, so you can just wave your hand in front of your face and instantly all the hair falls off. Depending on how many times you wave it, your lips may follow. And that's because of the 5-blade razor cartridge that is German engineered in their own factory. Achtung! They're sharper than a serpent's tooth. And you also get a travel cover and some foaming shave gel. We do not recommend that you rake these blades across your exposed skin without the foaming shave gel. That can make a lot of difference. It's normally $13, folks. Right now, it's only $3 if you go to Harry's harrys.com/JCE. harrys.com/JCE. The $13 trial set comes for just $3, and you can check out some of the other fine products. They have the skin softening body wash and the high quality, amazing smelling deodorant for just $5. Even homeless people, you could find $5 laying in the gutter. Go get you some extra strength, high quality, amazing smelling deodorant from Harry's, and people will ignore the fact that you have leprosy and you have maggots in between your toes. You're going to smell great. Plus hair and other grooming products that fit your unique look and needs. Some of you, we have come to find out, have unique looks, and you need to find some grooming products that fit those. Well, Harry's has got them for you, folks, so don't even worry about the part-time job at the county fair during fair season. You too can look normal. harrys.com/JCE for $3. You get to look acceptable and maybe get some nookie on Valentine's Day.
Well, every day can be Valentine's Day with Harry's. One more time, that promo code.
One more time, harrys.com/JCE. So how much excess body hair are you removing over at the 605 Wrestling News Arcadian Vanguard end of the operation this week, Brian?
No hair removal and nothing else to say there, really. Go through the archives or listen to everything. Go on Facebook, facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. And of course on Twitter or X or whatever it may be, look for @Superpodcast. Of course, the wrestling news each and every day. Get your wrestling news for free, without opinion, without star ratings, without conjecture. Just actual news. If it happens and it's reported, it'll be on the wrestling news each and every day. No clickbait, no paywall, just the wrestling news. Get it directly from thewrestlingnews.com, wherever you find your favorite podcast. Want to make mention of Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam. They are looking now at the beginning of 1985. I can't believe to say this. 1985, 40 years ago.
Oh!
Hear that talk, McAdamPod.com, or look for Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast, The Mothership! Go through the archives at 605pod.com. I felt that one. The Mothership.